Hello all YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this Tropical Storm Cristina discussion for July 8th, 2020. Before I get on with today's video, however, I would ask that every single one of you please smash that subscribe button and ring the bell notifications. Thank you guys so much for 600 subscribers. Let's get to our next goal of 700 subscribers and to our next long-term goal of the big 1,000. So please smash that subscribe button and ring the bell notifications, as well as watching the whole video. Both of these things really do support my channel, and watching the whole video, it's a win-win. You get the best part of the content, and I get the watch time, which I really do need for my channel. And please also like and share this video. Thank you. Now let's get on with today's video. So in today's video, as you noticed by the thumbnail and the title, we'll be talking about Tropical Storm Cristina and how it could likely form into a hurricane. Now, while this won't directly be impacting land in the short term, it will definitely be impacting the Mexican coastline still, and Cabo San Lucas, with potentially some outer rain bands, but mostly some big waves. It would be nice to track this storm system today, and it could develop into potentially a major hurricane, and who knows? Or, excuse me, not major hurricane, just a hurricane. But a major hurricane not out of the question, but it most likely develop Category 1 or 2 hurricane. But in the very long term, if this does make it, there's a very little chance that it could impact Hawaii too. All right, but we're going to focus on the shorter term right now and how and when it will develop into a hurricane. So right now, it's seeing a sustained wind of 60 miles per hour, according to National Hurricane Center latest update. If you guys want to, I can refresh the page, but I believe I had the latest update, and yes, I do. All right, 60-mile-an-hour winds right now. Storm is moving northwest at 13 miles an hour, which is a pretty average movement. Usually about 10, 13 is usually, 13 is a little higher end of the scale, but 10, 13 is usually what we see. That's like how like they move on average. When you start to get towards 20 miles an hour, it's a little fast, and then 5 miles an hour is a little slow. According to the National Hurricane Center, this could form into a hurricane by midnight Friday but look at this here. By 12 p.m. Saturday, it'll probably die off into a tropical storm again. So this won't become a hurricane for too long. We're talking about midnight Friday through midnight Saturday. Maybe a 24, 36-hour period of it potentially being a hurricane. I did talk about Invest 98L as well. Another update on it, how the East Coast could be impacted. So check that out on the top right corner of your screen after this video. And let's get into the satellite loop now. You can see it's not the most organized looking storm in the world, really. It does have that little area of rotation, but you can see how the convection is sitting right over that rotating center, and that's not what we want for tropical development here. But I definitely do see a little center developing. It's a little rotating area. When and if this does develop into a hurricane, it'll definitely look a lot more organized. But you can still see, because we have some slight amounts of shear cutting to this, pushing the convective activity off to the east just a little bit. That's why the Mexican coastline is still getting skimmed by some convective activity, as you can see on the right side of your screen. Mexico is still getting a little bit of convective activity. If you look at the ocean temperature anomalies, the storm, well, first of all, the storm is sitting at about 107 or so, or 108 degrees west and about 16, 17 degrees north. So looking at that on the ocean temperature graph loop, you can see that, let me go back one more time here, 16, so I say it's sitting right about here. So definitely seeing that average to slightly above average water, and that's what it's going to be contending with as it moves over the East Pacific over the next few days, or next couple days. And then once it gets out over here, it's a little mixture of blues and oranges and whites, so a little bit of below average, a little bit above average, and kind of in the middle. So, but for the short term, it does look pretty good. All right, so slightly above average water is where it's sitting right now, which is definitely good for developing the storm, or continuing to develop, because it's already named. Looking at the ocean temperatures right now, staying at about 28, 29, which is mid to upper 80s or so, mid 80s, which is not bad. But once it leaves that area, that protective layer of 80s ocean water temperatures, it's going to be hard to develop the storm system. At least continue to strengthen it. Looking at the National Hurricane Center, looks like this will most likely cross over 20 degrees north latitude, maybe get to 22 or 23. If you look at that here, once you get to 20, notice how our ocean temperatures drop way below 80 here. They get down to the low mid 70s. So that's going to be an issue, and that's why it's going to continue to weaken from there. But that's just in the long term here. Looking at the exact coordinates for my estimate, I give it about 107.5 degrees west and about 15.5 degrees north. That's where the low is sitting right now. Looking at the model track guidance, again, there's nowhere else, like there's no reason that the models should disagree. The models really do take more of a northwest turn, and then eventually once it gets to about that 20-degree north latitude line, it'll start making more of a west turn out through the Eastern Pacific, moving its way westbound. You can see here's where it strengthens over the next 2 to 4 days. And then, like I said, beyond that, it drops back into a tropical storm or tropical depression. And like I said, some of the models do say that maybe in the long term, if it's just a raggedy old low, it could still impact Hawaii maybe about 9 to 11 days out, 9 or 12 days out, maybe 10 days, depending on how the modeling, like depending on what the modeling says on it. Again, here's your yellows and oranges, your strengthening area here, your lower millibars of pressure, your more strong winds. Then they kind of weaken the storm system. And a couple models are starting to give a track on it already towards Hawaii, but if you were to extend these models more, they would definitely take it towards Hawaii. So this is definitely long term. We're talking about like if it does hit Hawaii, we're talking about anywhere from July 17th to July 20th. So we're talking about like possibly the third week of July here before this storm might potentially get there. As you can see, a lot of the guidance takes it into a category 1 and then drops it pretty quickly down through tropical storm. You can see it takes into a category 1 by about 36, 60 hours out. And then you can see by another, by another 24, even 48 or 54 hours later, it's already down to a minimal tropical storm, if not almost a tropical depression by that point. So once it gets to a hurricane, it's going to stay a hurricane for a little bit, and then it's going to start its little weakening trend. As you can see, GFS model definitely taking it a little more northbound here. All right, if you look at the low center, not that far north, about 20 degrees north latitude, which, like I said, that's that line where the ocean temperatures start to drop off a little bit. But still, that's still 984 millibars of pressure is a pretty strong storm system. You look at the current, you look at the sustained winds, you can see they definitely do form this little area of purple on the eastern side. So GFS is definitely indicating at minimal Category 1 hurricane, maybe some 80-plus mile-an-hour winds. We'll see how it looks as it heads towards Hawaii. At least according to GFS model, 5 days out, it's almost at Hawaii, not quite, and it's still a tropical storm, as you can see by the little area of green just to the north of the low center. So still, even 5 days out, still a tropical storm. Then it's a tropical depression by this point, and we're going to have to see how it looks from there. Cyclonic vorticity signature, as you guys can see, looking pretty healthy. But once it goes about west, I'd say about 120 degrees west, once it gets north of 20 degrees north, this is the region that's going to start weakening due to possibly a little bit more wind shear, but most likely the reason this is going to weaken is because the ocean temperatures aren't quite warm enough once you get past a certain coordinate here on the map. So that's one of the main reasons here. Let me go back to 12Z for a second. Sorry, I just had to get a little reboot there. However, look at this. The wind shear anomalies, at least now through July 13th, as you can see, wind shear anomalies are above average. So that's definitely something that, again, it's going to hinder development a little bit. It's only above average by about 6, 10, 15 knots, which isn't completely horrible. But, wind shear is still above average nonetheless. But once it makes its way westbound, look at the wind shear actually drops below average, which is definitely interesting there. That's closer to Hawaii. So if it can make it there and the ocean water can start warming up a little bit, this storm does have a little bit of a chance as it heads towards Hawaii. But Hawaii still be on guard, but you're going to have to wait till the third week of July if you do get it at all. Look at the GEM model there. Look how far north they take it. At its northernmost point, they actually take it to about 23.3 degrees north, as opposed to GFS only took it to about 20 degrees north. And because they took it farther north, look at this. It's pretty much the same time frame I showed you from the GFS model, but now the storm is completely fallen apart because the modeling is taking it farther north where the ocean water is a lot colder and the wind shear is a little bit higher. And you can see they really just tear this thing apart. They think it's not going to strengthen anymore. Maybe strengthening a little bit within the next, say, 24 hours or so, 30 hours. But after that, it's going to start weakening pretty quickly. All right, but I definitely do think it does have a decent shot at becoming a Category 1 hurricane. The GEM model doesn't seem to think so. They think a high-end tropical storm. You can see by 60 hours, it's already a tropical depression. All right, not much left of it after that. So we're going to see the two models. Again, they do say two different things here. You look at the cyclonic vorticity signature, and look at this. Nice little healthy storm. All right, at its strongest point, I'd say right around here. About Thursday morning, just like when this 98L is going to start developing. Another little area of spin here too. That's interesting. But I think this could become a high-end tropical storm, low-end Category 1 hurricane. I'd say about my prediction 65 to 85 mile an hour winds. But once it becomes a hurricane, it's going to start dying pretty quickly. So to all you other meteorologists out there that want to do a video when it becomes its strongest, because I know some people out there like to do a video when the hurricane becomes its strongest. Definitely want to do a video on it Thursday morning because that's when it's going to be at its strongest most likely. But watch out, because once it becomes a hurricane, it's going to start weakening a little bit. Maybe another little low generates just south of Mexico there too, so that'll be interesting. We'll have to watch that. But other than that, that is about it here. Looking at the wind shear anomalies, well, real quick. Again, you can see just like the GFS was saying, that area of above average wind shear, it's not much, but it's enough to hinder development a little bit. We're talking about 10, 20 knots below average, above average of wind shear. But like I said, if it can make it without weakening too much, if it can get a little bit, if it can track a little bit farther south into those warmer waters, can last a little bit longer, get to that area below average shear, I think this does have a little bit of a shot if not weakening too quickly. But this will be on a general weakening trend. But if it can make it to that area below average wind shear, it might not weaken as quick and maybe actually give a little bit of rain to Hawaii. So we'll have to see. So thank you for watching today's video, guys. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time. Catch you guys next video.